Good morning to the leader in you. This is Catherine, your host. We now have been thrusted into the month of June, and it's so much going on in our communities, nationwide, globally. And I want to talk a little bit today about building team structures, building community projects that will tackle challenges that we see in our community. I also want to talk about group economics and how we can pool our resources together to build things that can help us to grow our communities, grow our families, grow our businesses. So when we talk about building a team, we must have leaders. Number one, in order to build a team, there has to be someone that's going to lead the team, right? And that's why this show is called Good Morning to the Leader in You. I truly believe that everyone that's plugged into this show, that's listening live and listening to the replay later, you have been called to be a leader, and particularly at a time where we are right now, we need the leaders that have been dormant to rise up, right? But with a strategy, with an effective plan. Now, when we talk about building a team, sometimes people say, well, how big does my team need to be? A team equates to anything over 2 people, right? 2 to 3 people. You don't have to start with this huge group of people. Start with a small base and build from there, right? Remember that the most effective team builds relationships. So it's not just about how large your team is. It's what type of relationships is in the team, right? Is it trust? Is it loyalty in the team? Or is it fear where people are not really open to work with team members because there's some challenges, power positions. People may want a certain position or title and they don't have it. So it's a power position, challenges within the organization. And the thing is, at the end of the day, does all the team members understand what the mission is? Do they understand what the vision is? Do they understand why this team was even put together? Sometimes teams are put together and there's absolutely no strategy. There's no vision. You're not conveying a vision to the team. Therefore, the team has gone rogue. I'm talking to that leader, and you may feel your team has gone rogue. I ask you to look back at your mission. Was your mission properly conveyed to the team? Or did we rush that process? Because sometimes we rush the process. We say, well, we just need a lot of people. We just need to get up and go. We get up and go, but there's no strategy, and therefore you don't see the results that you're looking for, right? When you have a team and when you're cultivating a team, everyone's ideas are valuable. Everyone's ideas are valuable. Now, that doesn't mean all ideas will be implemented at that particular time, but it can be implemented over a period of time in a strategic plan, and let that team member know, hey, you know what? That's a great idea. We're going to put that idea to be executed in this month, in this time period, in this quarter. Your idea is valuable. I appreciate you for sharing. Right? Sometimes teams don't grow because there's unspoken feelings, and people are not harmonizing because it is unspoken feelings. So therefore, the team is not coming together. Sometimes many of you may have started a great team and you had a great, number of people, but then things started to phase out. Why did that happen? Was you clear with your communication with the team? And then did you receive what the team was telling you? There's been a phase in my life, even building my business and building different teams, that I had to grow. Personal development is important. I know sometimes leaders don't want to point the finger at themselves, but hello, we do. We have to look at ourselves and say, where did I err? What areas did I not implement to keep the team together? I've always questioned myself, because at the end of the day, if I'm over something, I have to look at me. I cannot point the fingers to all of the people that was on the team. I need to look at me and see what needs to be changed, see what needs to be improved. When we talk about building a successful team, it's more than just trying to pick people that we think has a good background, good status, come from a well-to-do place, have money. It's so much more than that. We need to bring professionals to the table that are from a diverse background, right? Diverse background, so it can foster a strong sense of teamwork, right? A strong sense of teamwork. Now, when you're building a team, it's kind of like tilling the ground. The ground can be hard because you're pulling different people together from different walks of life, different backgrounds, and you're trying to mesh everyone together. That is some serious groundwork that has to be done in the very beginning. However, if it is done in the very beginning, you're going to see high productivity in the team. A team that communicates with one another, a team that cooperates with one another, a team that's always coming up with new inventions and ideas, innovative thoughts and innovative creative expressions to keep the mission alive, right? The atmosphere must be mutual trust and respect. If those two things are missing from a team environment, the team will eventually shrink. And you have to be careful to see if anyone in the team is putting holes in the boat. You're all on a boat. You think you're charting a course to get to this next destination, and you turn around and like, where are the people? Are people in your team putting holes in the boat? Now, one of the things that I always say, and for those that follow me know that I'm about strategy and planning. Everyone needs to make a plan. If you're a leader and you have a team without a plan, that is a team that's going to be full of, everyone's just kind of going their own way. You need to be clear, and it needs to be measurable goals that you want to accomplish. I always say set measurable goals every quarter. Every quarter have a new measurable goal that you want to see accomplished. With that measurable goal, then the team gets excited because they see that they was able to meet that small goal, that quarterly goal. And then along the way, every quarter you meet those goals. At the end of this year, oh my gosh, December, you're having a holiday party. Everybody's coming together. Everybody's excited because they met those small goals. And ultimately, you met your end of the year goal. And also what's so important is that the team must have a culture in it. What is your team's culture? This is something I want you to ponder on and think about. What is the culture in your team? What type of vibe is the vibration that's in your team, right? What is it? Only you know, and the team knows as well. And in order for you to shift, if you see things that's not trending in the right direction for team building, and ultimately you want to build a team for what? Because you want to create projects for your business. You want to create projects if you have a nonprofit organization to implement in the community, to tackle issues within our community. But the only way to tackle issues in our community is if we have a strategy, is if we have a plan. We cannot just wing it when it comes to trying to deal with systematic issues in a community. We need to have a plan, a long-term plan. We have our immediate goals. We all know this. You have your immediate goals, short-term goals, your long-term goals. But how many times do we really plan this out when we deal with systematic issues in our community? And again, I know when things happen, our emotions are totally tied up into it. But once we go through that moment, we have to sit down and think about what's really going on. What plan do we need to put in place, and how do we need to execute? One of the greatest things I feel that needs to be done more of is group economics. And some people may say, well, what is group economics? And so it's when you take a group of people together, they have a common economic interest. And that group agrees to actively and consciously pursue that economic interest together to create a sustainable and secure economy for everybody, not just for one person of the group, not the cream of the crop, the top person. No, everyone. Right? And so one of the things when I was doing research, I said, well, let me think about what else is group economics? What are some other definitions that's out there? When I was Googling, it says, the economy is broken down into three main groups: the producers, the consumers, and the government. Again, the producers, the consumers, and the government. I just want to talk about the first two, the producers and the consumers. What category do we fall in? Are we more so of a consumer, or are we a producer? Then this is a question we all have to ask ourselves, including myself. I have to ask this question. What did I produce this quarter? Because second quarter about to be done, and we about to be in third quarter. So I have to ask this question, and you have to ask the question to yourself. In this quarter, was I a producer or was I a consumer? There's a distinct difference between the two, and sometimes they overlap. But here's the thing, this show is about leaders. That's why it's called Good Morning to the Leader in You. We are to be producers. We are producers. So the question is, what have you produced? Listen, today's, June 2nd. What are we going to do for the balance of this month to really capitalize on taking our businesses to the next level, taking our families to the next level, taking our community projects to the next level? What do we need to produce this month? Are you a consumer or a producer? One of the things as I was researching about group economics, it was a suggestion that individuals can start an investment club. How many are even a part of an investment club? How many have heard of an investment club? And these are things that sometimes are not often talked about. And I want to talk about it on this show because I think it's super important. When we talk about building our communities up, we can't talk about it and not talk about the economy. We can't talk about building and changing our community, and we're not talking about what's going on in our community. We have to be producing, right? Whether it be a product or in service. And then we have to make sure we give tasks to members of the community that they can facilitate. Us as leaders, we cannot wear all the hats, although sometimes we do. We have to identify and vet people that can carry out tasks in a community so that way it truly can be a community project. A community project is not made of one person. It is made up of community members. It is not about the one, it is about the whole. And a lot of times what we can also do to get the word out, whether it's a community project or about your business, set up your online store. If you've been saying, hey, I'm going to set up my online store and it still hasn't happened, you said you was going to knock it off and kick it off January 1, but it hasn't happened. Or you said you want to open up a brick and mortar store somewhere. Now we know things have shifted right now because of COVID, but you think about what you said to yourself January 1st. You think about what you said to yourself at the end of December when you said you're going to thrust into January and you said you was going to do X, Y, Z for your business, for your family, for your community. Have you done it yet? Again, are you a consumer or are you a producer? One of the ways, and also we can implement group economics and even have these kind of conversations, is to host community events. When is the last time that you brought people together in your community in a holistic way that had a strategy and a plan for execution? That at the end of that event, it was a byproduct. We're not just coming together just to come together. It's a reason and there is a purpose, right? It's a reason and it's a purpose. Another thing we have to do, we have to look at our buying habits. How are we spending our money? A lot of times businesses or different people may say, I don't have money, I don't have this, I don't have that. We have to look at what are we spending our money on. Another great tool to build group economics is to create a co-op, right? Also create a crowd fund, right? To raise capital for your initiative in your community. So again, I just wanted to talk on these topics this morning because I feel it's relative. I feel it's important. I feel it's needed because a lot of times people, may not be totally sure how to organize. And I want to tell everybody, if you want to be a part of a 2-hour webinar that can help teach and train you on how to build your community-based platform, I'm doing a webinar. And it's going to be on June the 14th. I have a 2-ticket giveaway that I'm going to give, but you have to send me an email, ct@catherinetrotter.com. Share with me in that email what community project you're trying to implement, and you will get a ticket. I'm going to be giving away two tickets to that webinar that's going to be on June the 14th. It's going to be 2 hours of content, meat and potatoes, not any fluff. We're going to be talking specifically how do you build a team structure. So I want to share some quotes that I found around team building. The first quote says, alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. And that's by Helen Keller. For those that may not know who Helen Keller is or was, she was a blind woman. She could not see, but she did not allow that to stop her. I'm going to say that quote again. Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Another quote says, if everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. That's Henry Ford. That's for anyone that's saying, oh, I don't want someone to get ahead of me. I don't want the other team member to get ahead. It's not even about that. We have to move forward together. Another quote says, many ideas grow better when transplanted into another mind than the one where they sprang up. And that's a quote by Oliver Holmes. I'm going to say that again because I think this is powerful. Many ideas grow better when transplanted into another mind than the one that they sprung up. In other words, leaders, you are supposed to transplant your vision and your mission into another person's mind that they can carry the torch. Are we doing that, or are we just the deal? No, we have to pay it forward and we have to pass the baton. The final quote that I want to share says, if I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. And that's a quote by Isaac Newton. I'm going to say that again. If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. I say to you, leaders, this morning, are you a giant in your community? Who is standing on your shoulders? Or whose shoulders did you stand on to help you become a giant? And now who do you want to pass the baton and pass that knowledge, pass that wisdom onto so it can be a ripple effect in our communities? In order to see change in our community, we as the leaders must rise up from a tactical, strategic standpoint and have a clear focus and know what goals we want to achieve every single quarter. So at the end of the year, the team members, the community members see real change and growth. Check out my website. If there are any entrepreneurs out there that you may need some one-on-one support in building your business, if you're a nonprofit organization and you need support in developing your community-based projects, send me an email, ct@katherinetrotter.com. Again, that's ct@katherinetrotter.com. Again, my website is www.katherinetrotter.com. As we get ready to wind down this morning segment, like always, I'm going to put on some music. This is what I want you to do as you listen to the music. I want you to write down your community-based project, your project, even if you have a for-profit business, in your businesses in the said community. What community engagement do you want to implement this month of June? Because it's all about community engagement at this point. Again, there's a lot going on in our community, but we must be tactical. We must have a strategy for implementation and execution. So write down what the strategy is. Write down who your partners are going to be or who you would like your partners to be. And I'm going to see everybody at the top.